What is going on, guys? Today we are going to go over the top 5 things that I wish I knew when I first started Rust. Now, before we hop into the video, I did want to mention one of my sponsors. It is Charged Chocolate. It is caffeinated chocolate. I actually ordered some recently. I ordered the 15 single balls of regular and 15 of the dark chocolate, and honestly, it's actually really good, especially if you're not huge into energy drinks or you want to take a step away from sugar. This is a great thing to look into. If you use code DOOL, DOOL, at checkout, you'll get 10% off. You guys should really check them out. They're amazing. They've been good to me. And yeah, check them out. Appreciate it. Back to the video. Alrighty. Number 1 is going to be that the server that you play on matters. A lot of people, when they first download the game, they really don't understand all these different servers. And honestly, it can be really overwhelming when you first look at it. The first thing you want to find out is if you're going to be playing alone or if you're going to be playing with friends. If your friends already have experience on the game, they might already have a few servers that they've played before. The biggest things to look out for, and they've changed it quite a bit in the recent years. So now you can see how often a server wipes. So everything gets deleted off of the map. So you have like weekly servers, you have bi-weekly every 2 weeks. And then you also have monthly servers, which they go from the first Thursday of every month they wipe. Now, keep in mind the first Thursday of every month, the entire game pretty much wipes. So every server that's on Rust wipes the first Thursday of every month. So you have to keep that in mind as well. Official is going to be all vanilla. So there's not going to be any type of mods at all. It's going to be how the game was meant to be played, quote unquote. And it's really a grind, to be honest with you. If you are a first time player, this might be cool. Just know that it's going to be a slightly frustrating experience, especially if you're on your own. The higher the population, the more you're going to die. Then you also have the community tab. This is where you have different types of servers. Obviously, you can kind of go through. If you click on each one, it'll kind of tell you what they have to offer on the server. Sometimes they don't say anything, but most of the time they will kind of have the features and everything on there for you. So like, let's say you're a solo and you know you're going to be playing a good amount. Maybe you want to play it monthly so you don't have to worry about it wiping. You could click on something like this. You know that it wipes monthly at 2 p.m. on Force Wipe, the first Thursday of every month, etc., etc. And you can kind of read through. Just keep in mind, the lower the population, the less action you're going to have, the more it's going to be focused on kind of looting up, basically. Then you have modded servers, which these servers can range anywhere from a vanilla server, it's completely stock, all the way up to a million X, where you hit one node and you get a million stone. And it's not really for the whole Rust experience. It's really just to practice your PvP and, using a gun to kill somebody and kind of getting that whole experience down. So usually people don't play on those servers for longevity. They play on those servers just to kind of warm up, or maybe they just don't feel like putting the time into farming or anything like that. If you have friends that are already on a server, you can go to the Friends tab and refresh, and the server that they're on will pop up here. You can also favorite servers and go through those. And then if you forgot to favorite it and you get on the next day, you can go to your history and see it there. And if you have any questions about any of the servers, or maybe servers that I would recommend or something like that, you can always leave a message down in the comments and I'll respond to all of them. All right, number 2. The next thing I wish I knew about Rust when I first started is not necessarily oh my freaking god. Kind of how the whole building process works. There's a lot that can go into it, but for the most part, it's pretty simple. You'll need a building plan and a hammer. The building plan is, if you hold right click, you can select from all these different building items. You'll need some kind of foundation to put down on the actual ground itself. And then once you have foundations down, you can place walls, etc. Now, typically they won't be stone like this. They'll be twig. So the hammer, you'll need the hammer. If you hold right click on something, you can upgrade it. If you have stone in your inventory or metal frags or even high qual, you can upgrade them like that. And then you can also rotate the walls. And then if you have a tool cupboard down, you can also destroy the walls as well. So just keep stuff like that in mind. You know, if you're new to the game, that this is how you build a base, and you can really do whatever you want. Just make sure you have a door and make sure it's fully sealed. And keep in mind that this is there's a hard side and a soft side to a wall. So obviously that's the soft side, this is the hard side. So you'd want this facing outside. Because people can just pickaxe through the soft side. So little things like that. It's just like building in general. I just wish I kind of watched more videos on it. See, like some people wouldn't even know that this is wrong. You know what I mean? So you can just go in and rotate all of them. So stuff like that, and then you know you can just put a door down. Boom, boom. And then you can place doors in there, whatever you want to do. So that's, you know, just something else that I wish I kind of knew how to do right off the get-go. It took me a long time to figure it out. I didn't watch any videos or anything when I first got the game. I just kind of tried to figure it out myself. So if you don't know, now you know. Number 3 is going to be crafting in general. So there's a couple different ways to get to the crafting menu. If you push tab, you'll have your inventory and you can click crafting up here. But notice how it says you can also push F. So if you have it key bound to something else, it'll tell you what it is. I think the default is F. So you can push F and you can see all the different things that you can craft. Now, if you're in an actual server, like an official server or something like that, you might not see all this stuff. And the reason for that is because you have to get blueprints. You have to learn how to make stuff. So there's going to be some stuff in here that you're already going to know how to make. Your character, so per se, is already going to know how to make. But there's also going to be things like if you go to weapons, you're not going to know how to make an AK. You know what I mean? You're not going to know how to make a launcher, really any of this stuff down here. You might, I think you know the nail gun. Yeah, the nail gun, the spear. So you start off with different things like that. For some reason, it doesn't show me in here. But typically, let's say you go to an AK, right? The AK, right under the AK, it's going to tell you what is required. So it'll say, for this particular, it's going to say workbench level 3. So what you want to do is you can type in workbench or just work. And this is level 1. So level 1, you're going to need these items in order to craft this. And once you have the workbench, place the workbench down. And now everything that falls under workbench level 1, which if you wanted to know, you can push E where it says use and open the tech tree. All of these items right here are tier 1 items. So you have to have a level 1 workbench in order to make pants or bucket helmet or any of these electrical devices. Now typically none of this is going to be green when you first start. You're going to have to unlock it. Now you need scrap. Scrap is like the currency in the game, and you'll see scrap all over the place. So with the scrap, you can either, put down a workbench, and then you can, this is called tech tree, the tech tree. You can go to the tech tree and spend the scrap on the workbench in order to get it. Now, keep in mind, when you use a workbench to unlock things, they have what's called the workbench tax. So I believe the tier 1 is like a 10% workbench tax, and then it goes up from there. So if you are going to use this method, just know that you are going to spend more scrap than necessary in order to get something. So if I wanted to go down to pistol bullet, it's probably going to cost me around 150 extra scrap to get down here, rather than if I were to just find a pistol bullet, like either in a crate somewhere or kill somebody for it and they have it on their body. I can do what's called a research table. It looks like this. You can grab a research table and you can put that down. And a research table, you could put the pistol bullet in the top slot and it'll tell you right here how much it costs to research it, which I believe a pistol bullet is 75 scrap. You put the 75 scrap into this bottom, and then you can begin the research, and that will give you a blueprint, and then you can learn it, and then you can now craft the pistol bullets. So you have to really be able to learn the blueprints for everything that you want. To be honest with you, the easiest way is to, you know, maybe use some tier 1 guns like a nail gun and a crossbow, kill somebody with a pistol, use that pistol to kill somebody with like a SAR. And then, you know, you can research the SAR or even the pistol. That way, if you do die with that gun and they take it, you can come back to your workbench and you can craft one. And then you can, now you have another pistol. You just got to make sure that you have all the items that are necessary. So semi-automatic body, high qual, metal pipe, you know, the basics for this is really just for people that haven't, you know, played the game before or don't know how the game works. They downloaded it, they tried it out, they just didn't understand kind of how it worked. So that's what this is for, just in case somebody's watching this and they're like, bro, I know all this. This is just the last point, quick point real quick. If I spawn into the game and I farm 1,000 metal frags, 100 high qual, and 1250 scrap, I cannot make a workbench level 3 without standing at a workbench level 2. So you have to be at a workbench level 2 to make a tier 3. You have to be standing at a tier 1 to make a tier 2. So they require each other to make one another, if that makes sense. So you can make a tier 1 without needing anything except for the materials. And then once you're ready to make a tier 2, once you have enough stuff, you have to be at a workbench level 1. Number 4. This is going to be about training grounds. And this is something I really wish I knew about the game. Because when you first start playing the game, you might play in low pop servers. And so you don't get a whole lot of action or a lot of gunplay. Or maybe it takes you longer than usual to get to tier 2, tier 3 weapons. So you really, when you do get one in your hands, you're not really familiar with how the gun works. Or, you know, maybe you haven't played in a few days and you want to warm up your aim. UKN.GG is a great server to go to. You can just type in training grounds or aim. You can type in the word aim, AIM, into the search bar down here, and you can find some aim training or anything like that. I just go to UKN. It's the most popular one. It typically runs pretty well, but it is loud. So give me 1 second and I'll get in there and I'll show you guys around. Alrighty. And you're going to spawn into this absolute chaos. Servers like this, they have a bunch of different like VIPs and stuff that you can purchase. They have scrims, they have gun game, primitive free-for-alls, just kind of free-for-all maps. Just things that you can really mess around with. I personally like the targets and the aimbots. We'll go to targets. And we'll go to the default here. And just give it a second so it stops freaking out. And so here, if you open tab, you have every gun in the game pretty much. So if you just want to like learn how the guns work, you can come in here. You can put attachments on any gun you want. Yeah, it's a cool little spot. And you can be in here as long as you want. And you can just come in here and you can kind of practice. Now they don't die in this particular one, but you're really just like, there's so many different, like that's the recoil of the AK, and so like learning recoil and stuff like that, you really can't sit there and practice in a server all the time. So this is a great way to do that. But yeah, so that's number 4, is just wishing I knew about, you know, the servers where you can really practice your aim and just kind of learn how all the guns work and stuff like that. You know, if you want to try out the new minigun, you can come in here and let it take forever. I think it's ridiculous. But yeah, so that is that. And I actually haven't seen this gun yet, not gonna lie. That's actually disgusting. So, yeah. It's got 16 bullets in it, too. It's kind of like a SAR. Not too bad, not too bad. But yeah. So, if you guys ever want to just practice your aim, you can come in here. They also have spots where if you get a spot early enough, you can you'll be the owner of the map, and you can like 1v1 your friends and stuff like that. But there's other servers that are smaller. They don't have as high of a pop, and you can go in there and 1v1 your friends. And number 5, to end this little episode or scene off, one thing that I really wish I knew about Rust is I wish I knew how patient I was gonna have to be. This game is like nothing else, nothing you've ever played before. The closest thing to it may be like Ark. If you've ever played Ark, I have personally never played Ark. I've just heard people compare the two. But honestly, every wipe is different. Every experience is different. Every person you run into is different. They can be toxic. They can be really friendly. You can make lifelong friends on this game. There's a lot of things that go into this game that you might never think you'd ever see or hear about. But I have some crazy stories that I've had and different experiences that I've had in my few thousand hours that I have. So, you know, I can't imagine these guys that have 10, 15, 20,000 hours in the game. Just like the stories that they have and like the experiences that they've gotten. So, you know, the biggest advice that I can give you if you are starting to play this game is just how patient you have to be. No matter how many hours you have in this game, you are going to die. You can ask anybody. You are going to die a lot in game. And so you just have to take every death with a little grain of salt, learn what you did wrong, what you could have done better, and improve from there. This was just the top 5 things that could come up off my head that I could think of. If you guys want a part 2 to this, maybe, you know, a longer version or maybe more in depth in game, you can always leave that down in the comments. Maybe any things that you have questions about, I would be happy to answer those for you. Other than that, you know, don't forget to use code DUEL at Charge Chocolate. If you have any cool stories or anything like that from Russ, you know, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I read all the comments. I usually respond to most of the comments, so feel free. Other than that, you guys have a great wipe. Love y'all. Peace.